Welcome to the apex of sports ownership, the Apex Athletic Collective.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Instigate Success, Building an ABA Franchise, our weekly podcast covering the Hoosier State Instigators and all things Apex Athletic Collective. This is episode 101. I'm your stand-in host, former original host, Frosty, stepping in this week and next week for Jakey Muffins, who will not be here. So I'm happy to be here. And I got to tell you, I can't think of a better time for me to join the podcast as host. One of the most exciting times of the year because Instigators news is finally coming. We said a couple weeks ago in the last podcast I was on, episode 99, that the off season was over, the preseason was here, and we meant it. We had our last tryout there August 12th, and since then, all kinds of news has started to come out. So we're going to hit all of that. We're going to talk about when more news is coming out. We're going to check in really quick with our other show on our Apex Twitch channel. If you're watching on this, hello. If you're watching on YouTube, check out our Twitch channel. We got all kinds of content coming out that's not just Instigator stuff. We're going to check in on one of our big projects over there, the Dark Web Wrestling tabletop RPG that we're running. We're going to check in on the ballers, and we're going to kind of get through everything. But without further ado, let's talk about the Instigators first. As we said, we had our last tryout on August 12th. Our roster is pretty much set. Although there may be one or two need-specific things that we fill in the next couple of weeks. But for the most part, I believe we're set. And as such, we've started announcing basically one a day, announcing returning players first to our roster. So let's talk about those. If you don't follow us on Instagram, it's at Hoosier State ABA. Make sure you give us a follow. But I guess my guess is if you're watching this, you're on there. But let's talk through some of the signings in case you missed them. So let's go through it. First, Lawrence Boyd, number 30, re-signed with the Instigators. Let me tell you, I am so excited to have LB back. LB burst on the scene last year as a rookie for us. Really dominated for large stretches of the season. Very prolific offensive scorer. Very good defender. Young guy in his early 20s looking to move up. I will tell you, we played in a couple of Pro-Am leagues this year that we weren't able to film, but one of them in particular with a lot of international scouts and things we're watching, and Lawrence Boyd, LB himself, really dominated in that league. He's gotten better since the end of last year. I think he's going to continue to get better. He's one of the bright stars on this team, bright young stars that we're looking at, making sure that we develop, right? We've talked about this before, but we care about three things when it comes to this basketball team, right? Winning, making money, and developing young players, right? Those are the three goals we have with this ABA team, and developing young players to get them an opportunity overseas and in bigger leagues is what we're about. It's one of the big things that drive us each year. It's one of the big things that are driving us this year. It was one of the big things driving us last year. We've already had players playing the TBL, which I would consider kind of the next league up. LB is that guy that I think at some point will sign with a higher league, but we're happy to have him back for this year. So LB locked in with us, number 30. Happy to have him. Let's talk about our next signing. One of our three captains named at the beginning of last year is back. Malcolm Martin. His first year with us last year his first year, with us was last year. He's back for another year. Super excited to have him. Number 21. The do-it-all point guard, man. We've talked about it on the broadcast. Jake and I have over and over again. This is a guy that takes charge both literally and figuratively. Led the league in charges taken last year. Can score and take over whenever he needs it. Also a really good facilitator, one of our best point guards we had last year, one of our best guards we had last year, one of our best players that we had last year. So really excited to have Malcolm back for this year. And then finally, just announced, we got two more. Levante Nelson, leading scorer from last year, number 31, back on the squad. So happy to have him. Vontae, there's no other way to say it. 31's a bucket, right? And we're happy to have him. He brings veteran leadership, a guy that has done it all. He's played in the other leagues. He's played overseas. He's done, big time basketball. Now he's here playing with the Instigators, continuing his legacy as a scorer, as an excellent basketball player. So happy to have 31 back. Levante Nelson, a player that signed with us right before the season started last year, is now back and has been working the entire offseason program with the squad. And then let's see. Yeah, the last one is up. This one just announced today. Captain America himself, Steve Rogers, another one of those young guns that we were looking to develop last year. Steve didn't get as much playing time, I will say, as some of the other guys on this list, but Steve really improved throughout the season, played really well at the end of the season. We saw him appear a couple times, has the size to really impact the game, can shoot, can defend, can block shots, can go up and dunk. Kind of a do-it-all player that we're looking for in kind of that 2, 3, 4 position. Excited to have him back, and I will tell you, and I've told Steve this too, watching him this year in the pro-ams and some of the other leagues that we're doing. Steve is a much better basketball player even than he was last year, and he was great last year. He was a really good player. Did well with the time he had, although it wasn't a ton. I expect his minutes are going to go way up this year because he has looked amazing this year in the offseason. He's playing basketball 4 to 5 days a week, trying to get better, and we're seeing that progress with him. Another young gun that I think is going to end up in bigger and better leagues by the time this is all said and done. So excited to have him. So those are our 4 signings that we've announced so far. So far, we've focused only on returning players. Those aren't the only returning players we have coming to the roster. We're going to continue to announce those one a day. Tomorrow will be the next one. Obviously, Steve was announced today. And then, from there, we'll announce our new players because we have a mess of those as well. So I'm really excited. I got to tell you, this, I think, is the best squad we've had in the history of Instigators basketball. I've worked really hard with Coach Dobbs and Coach Dobbs, right? Julio and head coach Dobbs to put together a really good roster to go and scout people. We've been at, every kind of basketball game you can think of all around the Indianapolis area, looking for guys that want to kind of do it what I'm calling the instigator way, right? They want to work hard. They want to be there for their teammates. They want to do it for the fans. They want to do it for themselves. They have drive, and they're fun guys to be around. We've talked about in the past, we've had some guys that have brought drama or other things or ulterior motives. These guys, as you can see through our first 4 signings, are not those guys that are doing that. I'm really happy with the guys, really excited with the guys we're bringing in through our 3 tryouts. So I think through the 3 tryouts, we had about 30 players try out for the Instigators. So we had a really good pick of players to go through, and now we're starting to announce them as we make final decisions. Super excited about it. Super excited for this season. As we get closer, it's nearly September. We'll be doing this podcast one more time in October, and then it's September, and we're getting closer and closer. And speaking of getting closer and closer, for those of you that are Instigators fans, I know you've seen around the league. We previewed them a couple weeks ago, other teams' schedules. I'm happy to tell you our schedule is done. We finalized the last game of it this morning, actually, and we'll be releasing it exclusively on Patreon tomorrow, Saturday, and then for everybody else on Sunday. Now, let me tell you this right now. If you are not a Patreon subscriber, become a Patreon subscriber. You can do it for as little as $1. It gets you access to live games. It gets you insider news. It gets you, this year we're going to have some insider opportunities at merchandise for Patreon subscribers only. If you become a $10 subscriber, you get that fan voter tier, which means you get to vote on some stuff, not necessarily how the Hoosier State Instigators run, but how Apex runs as a whole, putting you in the owner's box with us. So become a Patreon subscriber. And if you even sign up for free tomorrow, you'll get that schedule 24 hours before everybody else. So make sure you do that. Our schedule is finally coming out tomorrow. I'm really excited for it. We talked about it. There's going to be some familiar names. There's going to be some new names. And the reason for that, well, one, there's always that mix when you're looking at a team that's only been around 3 years. But the ABA has really changed the way in which scheduling works. And so we were given a number of teams that we had to schedule based on where we finished in the standings last year. And so we have some teams that we haven't faced before. Really excited about that. And then we're going to have some teams that we have faced before. I think it's going to be a great schedule. I think we have a good opportunity if we work hard to kind of prove where we belong on the roster. or I'm sorry, in the league, and then vie for a playoff spot. We lost in the play-in tournament both times the last 2 years. We want to make the playoffs this year. We want to go on a playoff run. It's our third year. We think we can do it. So I'm excited for you all to see that schedule. You'll see it tomorrow, again, exclusively on Patreon. It'll be out everywhere else and publicly on Sunday. So make sure you check that out. Other Instigators news. We're working on scheduling a preseason game, and hopefully we'll announce that before too long. I think it'll take place in October at some point, which is really cool. We're also planning, just got off the phone with a group to do our first ever media day this year, sometime in, it looks like October as well. So I think it could be September as well. It could be September instead, actually. I'm sorry, but Instigator stuff really starting to fly. On top of that, obviously we have a lot of other opportunities that we're working on with the Apex Athletic Collective, the company that owns the Instigators. We're going to have some fan votes coming up. The first fan vote, actually, that's coming up, we're going to do a couple here right in a row. The first one that we're going to launch this weekend, we've been talking about for a while. We're finally launching it. It's a fun one, so we're going to make it not just members, but open to anyone on our Patreon. It's going to be an open vote for anyone who's a member of our Patreon, even at the free tier. Is we're going to name the AI camera this year. Didn't have a name last year. So we're going to name it this year. That'll be our first vote. We got some cool votes on some stuff related to AAC coming up later in the fall. So right now I can think of at least 3 votes. And so if you want say in 3 of those votes, 2 of them you'll have to be a member. I'm a fan voter. The other one, obviously, you just need to be a member. So make sure that you do that. It helps us, it helps the players, and also it gives you a say in helping to run this company that we started together. We started this with the fans. I can't believe it's been 3 years now, nearly. We started in 2023, spring of 2023. We're heading towards it, 2.5 years. Started with the fans. The fans picked the Instigators name. They picked basketball. They picked the ABA. They picked the team that we're going to talk about next, the Oakland Ballers, to be the second team that we invested in. So unlike the Instigators, where we're 100% owners right now, the Oakland Ballers, we own a very small percentage of. They're a small, I don't want to say small, they're an independent baseball team based out of Oakland, as you can tell by the name, Oakland Ballers. They actually took the place of the Oakland A's, who left last year, at the end of last year, and moved to Sacramento for a couple years before going to Las Vegas when their stadium was built. We love the Ballers. They're a community-driven team. They care about Oakland. They wanted to provide something that Oakland was going to miss with their current franchise, and so they did that. And the Ballers have been really successful, both on the diamond and off the diamond. So, they this week, just give you a weekly update on the Ballers, still in first place, up 4 games. For those of you that listen to the podcast every week, you know that the Ballers clinched playoffs. The way the Pioneer League works is the team that wins the first half of the season, regular season champs, automatically get a playoff berth. The Ballers got that. We talked a lot about, if you're in that situation, right? Again, it's independent league baseball. So that means that none of these players are signed to Major League Baseball teams. They're not affiliated with anyone. They're your players. Jakey and I spent a lot of time a couple episodes ago talking about, what does that mean for a franchise like this? We hadn't been through something like this. Does the manager look at, maybe we rest a couple of players? Maybe, we take it easy, give guys an extra day off, things like that. And I will tell you, so far, the Ballers have done none of that. They have been playing full bore the entire season. This week they're 4-2. They're still 4 games up in first place in their division, in their conference. I'm sorry. 4-2 again this week. Really good showing by them. Really solid season so far. I hope it culminates in a team that could win the Pioneer Championship, the Pioneer League Championship, and I think it will. They're a team that if they're performing like this now and they continue that throughout the season, they have a chance absolutely to win the championship. So 4-2 this week, 4 games up in first place. The season's coming to an end, actually. Their last game is let's see here. I'm going to look it up just to see if I got it right. Sunday, September 7th is their final game of the season. They take on the Great Falls Voyagers. So only a handful of games left for the Ballers. if you're looking at, really 2 weeks left of baseball for them before they hit the playoffs. So now it looks like, obviously they're in the playoffs. It looks like they have a really good chance to lock up first place and then do some really great stuff in the playoffs. And just to kind of put it in perspective of how well they've played, they went 37-11 in the first half of the season. They won what is that's like something like 77% of their game. Won uh won the standings by 4 games. This second half of the season, they're 25-8, tied with the Paddleheads, who are their second place team, 4 games behind. They've won 7 of their last 10. Missoula's won 8 of their last 10. Those two teams, obviously, you got the Raptors as well in Ogden, Utah. Those are kind of the top 3 teams in the league right now. But the fact that they like clinched the playoffs and have gone 25-8 in the second half of the season, incredible. So hats off to them. Obviously, the Paddleheads are going to battle them out of Missoula all the way down to the last dying days of the season and then into the playoffs. But man, both teams playing so well. So shout out to the Ballers. Speaking of baseball, we have had to, put a pause on amateur night, basically due to my schedule. Here's the thing: is when you're a content creator and you have a full time job, and you play on a baseball team, and you play on another baseball team, and you have a family, and you have all these things going on. Sometimes you're too busy, and that's what happened to us. The last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I've had something going on every Saturday. Haven't been able, but that changes tomorrow. Tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern, we get back to amateur night. We're gonna follow the Penguins season. Obviously, it's been a lot of fun doing baseball. Obviously, baseball is my favorite sport, but it's also given us a chance to do a broadcast of a sport that we don't have a whole lot of experience in. I'm really excited about that. Obviously, we're several games behind. Not all of the games were recorded, so we'll catch some games here and there as we go. Um, but interesting enough is that the playoffs for the 25 plus Indiana Baseball League, of which the Penguins are a part, are this Sunday. So if you follow the Penguins at all on social media, I don't know if you do, but you should, Pendleton Penguins, you'll know already whether or not the team made the playoffs or whether they have to play in the play-in and who they'll play against and where they're seated and all that. But if you don't, and even if you do, tune in to amateur night during the day, 1 o'clock Eastern tomorrow. We'll be streaming that game. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's actually just going to be me streaming that game. It's going to be a lot of fun for me. We're going to talk through a lot of the stuff going on in the game. We're going to talk about the players, give you kind of behind the scenes look, and just talk baseball, And so, Amateur Night is the show that we want to continue. Make sure if you have amateur footage that you would like us to commentate on, just like we do the Instigators, send it in to us, apexathletics2023 at gmail.com. Tag us on social media, hit us in Discord, mention us, comment on something on Patreon. You know how to get a hold of us at this point. A lot of you have my cell phone number. Call me. We want to blow up amateur night. We want to give as many amateur sports a platform, a stage, a vehicle. Helps them, right? People get to see them. Really cool, even if it's just for your family. We get to cut our chops and get practice editing and producing live sports content. You all can tell because you've watched our games, I'm sure. All of the stuff that we've done is self-taught. The only way we're going to get better at it is if we continue to do it and continue to stretch ourselves by trying out different sports, different techniques, different times of the day, different software. So that's what we do during amateur night. So far, the Penguins have been really fun. And so it's fun to watch. It's fun to produce. It's fun to watch your comments on. Not so fun sometimes watching myself screw up. But there's not much you can do about that. So anyway, that show's returning. And speaking of shows, we have a big one coming up. So for those of you who are Instigators only fans, not only fans, but you know what I mean, Instigators fans solely, that's better. Although an Instigators only fans might not do so bad. That's something to think about. We'll think about it. Anyway, if you only watch the Instigators and don't watch the other things that Apex is putting on their Twitch channel, would love you to. We like to experiment with a bunch of different things. We'll see what kind of sports and what kinds of content hit. Because really, again, we talked about this in the beginning. The the beginning of the company, Apex wants to be more than just the instigators, right? We want to have year-round content. We want to be doing different sports. We want to buy into other teams and leagues, right? We want to run some of those things. So the instigators play November through March, maybe into April if we make the playoffs. That means you have most of April through October where it's just dead air, right? And so we do amateur night, we do things to kind of keep it going. One of the things we've experimented was actually one of the most requested things in our Discord, which was to do some sort of pro wrestling content. So 5 months ago, we started what we call dark web wrestling. So dark web wrestling is pro wrestling, but it's also a tabletop RPG. So we managed to merge two things that I love, right? And so we always had this idea. Shout out Peanut, who watches our podcast regularly. But we had this idea that pro wrestling, although not technically a sport, right, is theater, but um, is actually lends itself or could lend itself very well to a fan controlled situation, right? We're all fan controlled football fans that started this company. We loved fan controlled cricket when they did that, fan controlled NASCAR. They've done a couple of those things. And that server, a lot of times people were talking about wrestling. That group had no interest in that, which is perfectly fine. But we might. And so we came up with this concept called dark web wrestling, which would be the wrestling promotion that would be run by fans in the future if we ever started one. So what we decided to do is we ran across this tabletop RPG game. So if you're a sports fan and not a board game fan or anything like that, a tabletop RPG is like Dungeons and Dragons, right? You roll dice, you tell a story together. Except instead of fighting dragons and looking for gold, these folks are putting on a wrestling TV show and looking for gold belts. And so we started that 5 months ago. We do one episode a month, the third Thursday, give or take, every month, and on our Twitch, exclusively on Apex Athletic Collective. And we have reached our first kind of what I call milestone, which is Dark Web Wrestling's first live special. So if even if you're not a wrestling fan, you think of things like if you know about like WrestleMania or about some of these other things where it's a pay-per-view is what they call it. You pay to watch. So this promotion in universe, right? Because we tell our own story. So we're telling the story of dark web wrestling. And where we started, as I am the creative control, which means I write all of the stories. I facilitate the players playing in this universe, right? Keep track of all of the records, all that stuff. Really boring stuff unless you're super into it. But this promotion is really small, like it would be for us. It's not WWE level. It's not AEW level or New Japan Pro Wrestling, which are these like worldwide promotions, right? It's not like that. It's more like the one that's run out of a warehouse in your neighborhood, right? These guys aren't famous yet. They're trying to get there someday, or maybe they're on the way down. So what we did is we created 4 factions based off of the four of the creators of Apex Athletic Collective. They've drafted wrestlers, all of the content that you see at Digital Decay, which is our first pay-per-view, even though it's not really a pay-per-view, it's free on Twitch. So our first premium live event, as some WWE fans would call it, streams exclusively on Twitch September 18th. So some folks on here to pay attention to: the Goon, one of our players. The rest are all what they're called. The ones that aren't players, which would be the players, are the Goon, Miqua, and Pure Garbage. The rest are all what we call non-player characters, which are players that I created and I play as. It's a little bit of acting, right? But you have the Goon, Miqua in a hardcore match, and then you have Pure Garbage trying to become the first ever Dark Web Wrestling Mega Champion, is what we're calling it. What's interesting about this is we asked for fan feedback, as apparently my camera just disappeared. We asked for fan feedback, and what we got was that folks, we've decided to make, if there is ever a dark web wrestling, as I got my camera fixed, that whoever wins the title in the RPG going forward will be the canonical, right? The wrestlers use the word kayfabe, will be a recorded champion, just like anyone in the actual wrestling promotion should we create it. So this is a really big show for us. Thank you if you've been watching. If you haven't, this is an excellent time to tune in. We're going to be ending some storylines, starting some storylines, learn a little bit about RPGs, learn a bit about wrestling, talk to us about it. There are some opportunities we hope in the future where some of this will be a little bit more leaned into as like fan controlled. We're going to experiment with that. But I will tell you, dark web wrestling outside of our basketball game content where we're streaming live basketball games. Dark web wrestling is our most watched show. More people watch it than amateur night. More people watch it than than this, even this podcast. So it's doing pretty well for its first season. We'll see if we carry it into a second season. We want to do what you all want to do, but for us, it's about getting views on the site. It's about expanding um, who Apex is. We have a really big project that we haven't announced yet that we're working on as well. But urging you, September 18th, 8 p.m. on Twitch, jump in, listen to some nerds tell some stories about wrestling and see if it's something you like. And let's talk about is this a thing that would work out for everybody? So about to come to the end of our episode tonight. A couple of things that I want to say is we really want fans to get involved with the company, as we've talked about, and at the game. And so we're going to be asking for volunteers both on game sites, get free tickets, help out with game operations. We're a small operation, would love to have people help with scoreboard, concessions, ushers, tickets, all that good stuff, security if you'd like. But also on this page, on this Twitch channel on YouTube. If you see me doing this, you're like, gosh, Corey, I could do way better than you could. I could do better than Frosty and Jakey Muffins. Great. Come do it. We're looking for people to do game announcing. We're looking for people to run podcasts. Would love to get a podcast going about the ballers. Would love some people to jump into amateur night. If you love other sports, women's basketball is hot right now. It's something that we're going to, I think, try to expand into talking about. Hit us up. Let us know. We'd love to help put you on the channel, right? For us, it was never our intention for me and Jakey Muffins and Spacely to be like the guys that are always on here talking. We want it to be about lifting other people up who are passionate about sports, who are passionate about the instigators, who are passionate about giving fans democratic choices in sports ownership. We want those folks to be lifted up like we're, being lifted up by this project and by you, all the fans who support us. So if those are things that interest you, even if it's like, I want to do a thing once a month, or I want to, come on and help with, announcing or whatever it is, or I like the RPG idea. Let me try something, hit us up, talk to us because we're open to those things. We think it's super important to give folks a voice and we want to give you a voice as well. So send us your amateur content, send us your pitch ideas for this channel. Meanwhile, check out tomorrow once again on our Patreon exclusively, www.patreon.com/Apex Athletic Collective. We will be dropping 25-26 schedule tomorrow, everywhere else publicly Sunday. So make sure you're checking that out. Start marking your calendar, start buying tickets. Tickets are available now. You can get your season tickets, early bird special, $50 for the season, a ticket to every single game this season, including the playoffs. So make sure if you're even thinking about it, right? If you're going to 5 games, it pays for itself. And if you're going to more than 5 games, then you're making money. So make sure you do that. But that's it for us tonight. It's a short episode, but we'll catch you next week, or rather, I will. But until next time, be great and instigate.